Hello and welcome to the first ever Touch on Sport podcast. I am Buster Tutcher, I'm your host, and it is week one, baby. We are here. NFL is about to start Thursday night. Detroit Lions at the Kansas City Chiefs. We're on episode one. Week one is this weekend. We have our preview coming up for this weekend's slate of games on Thursday, but today we're all about predictions for the season. Okay, as the season goes on, we're going to have predictions. We're going to have roundups of the weekend's action every week for you. I'm excited. I can't wait to get going. I'm so looking forward to week one. It's going to be a great season of NFL action. But today, it's all about predictions. Okay? We've got our full week one slate preview coming on Thursday. But we can't start without looking at what I think is going to happen for the year. Giving you a roundup of who's looking good, who's looking not so good, and what I think is going to happen in each and every single division. All 8 divisions of the NFL coming up. We'll go AFC first, then NFC. Then we're going to talk about postseason. Exciting. Let's get going. Okay. First up, AFC East. For me, this year, 4th place. It's got to be New England for me, I'm afraid. I know they've changed offensive coordinators. They've actually got an offensive coordinator in this year. But I don't see how they can compete with their roster compared to the other 3 rosters in the division. I don't think. I think New England, 4th place in the division for me. Ahead of them, for me, 3rd place in the division is Miami. Great last year. Mike McDaniels, brilliant. Got them going, got them rolling. But for me this year, it's 3rd place and missing the playoffs. I think Vic Fangio is a huge upgrade for their defensive coordinator. But without Jalen Ramsey until late in the year, I think they're just going to be too far back. And with the risk about Tua, another concussion, he misses multiple games. I don't think he can stay healthy all year long. For me, they're missing the playoffs this year. Moving on though, 2nd place in the division, I have the New York Jets. Okay, it's a tough schedule. The first few weeks are brutal, but I think they come out of that. Aaron Rodgers gets settled in. The defense is kicking. Quinnen Williams is going to have a huge year, I think. I like the Jets. I like them for 2nd place. I think the start of the schedule makes it a bit hard for them to keep pace and win the division. But for me, New York Jets, 2nd place in the division and making the playoffs. Well, how they do once they get there, we'll get to that later on. But I think that end of their season, the schedule lightens up a little bit. They can get on a roll and get themselves into the playoffs. Aaron Rodgers' first year in New York. And then that leaves 1st place in the division. I have the Buffalo Bills. I know. Josh Allen, up, down. Bit of drama with Stephon Diggs. But for me, Buffalo's got enough to win this division. We don't know when they're getting all their players back. It's going to be a bit hit and miss. I don't think they're going to be... I'll save it for later. I'll save it for my playoff predictions. I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl, but I think they will win the AFC East. I think they've got the strongest team, the best coach. Well, not the best coach. The best combination of coach, quarterback, and team. So for me, Buffalo Bills winning the division. Okay, moving on. We go to the AFC North. Okay, start from the bottom again. 4th place. Got Cleveland Browns. Deshaun Watson, he's had time back in the league now. He's no longer multiple years removed from playing. But I don't see them being able to compete in this division. So it's 4th place for me, for the Cleveland Browns. I just don't think there's the talent. I don't think there's the coaching. And I think in this division, you need a lot of both. So for me, it's 4th place for Cleveland. Into 3rd place in the division, I have Pittsburgh and missing the playoffs for Pittsburgh. No playoffs this season. I think they'll be improved. I think Kenny Pickett is going to take a step forward. I don't think it's going to be a leap for year 2, but I think it's going to be a step forward for Kenny Pickett. I love George Pickens on the outside. I like Najee Harris. The offensive line is always good in Pittsburgh. But is there enough of a step from Kenny Pickett? And I don't think there will be. So for me, it's 3rd place, missing the playoffs. Second place,
Interesting question.
for me, is Cincinnati. I think with Joe Burrow missing the first few weeks of the season, we don't know when he's going to be back from that calf injury. For me, it's going to be playing catch-up all season after that, and I don't think they get into first place, but I do have them making the playoffs. I think Joe Burrow, Joe Cool, I think he can come back. They've got the team, they've got the weapons. I think they can make that push after he comes back to make the playoffs. But that leaves first place in the division is Baltimore for me. I love a healthy Lamar Jackson. I love the Baltimore defense. Always strong on defense, great on special teams, and they know how to win. And all Lamar Jackson does is win. For his career, when he's healthy, he is one of the most winningest quarterbacks in NFL history. So for me, if he's healthy, he's got more wide receiver weapons. We know he can run. For me, Baltimore, first place in the division. Okay, moving on. We're going on to the AFC South now. And in fourth, this division, we got two teams, new quarterbacks, rookie quarterbacks, new coaches. For me, Anthony Richardson, there's talent in there. There's going to be a player, but I think it's going to be a year one of struggle. I think he'll improve as the year goes on, but for me, coming into the season, I think Indy is going to be fourth place in this division. I don't think that's too much of a surprise prediction. Third place in division, it's the other rookie quarterback head coach combination. For me, it's Houston. I think defensively, they're going to be solid. I think there's talent, and I think they have a chance to kick on later in the season. But I think there's going to be those early season wrinkles and struggles, and I think it'll be too much for them to come back into competitiveness in this division for me. Second place, I have Tennessee. I think, what are we going to get out of Tannehill? Is he still the quarterback? Have they still got the weapons? D-Hop is a huge upgrade at them at receiver. Can Derrick Henry stay healthy now? He's an older running back now. We know running backs traditionally have struggled staying healthy as they get older. But then you've got Mike Vrabel as a coach. For me, it's second place. It's no playoffs. I think there's just going to be one too many issues for Tennessee in terms of staying healthy, in terms of quarterback play. I think it's going to be too much to ask. Which leaves winning the division, winning the AFC South, going to the playoffs, Jacksonville Jaguars. All right. I think we have another step forward from Trevor Lawrence. I think he's got great weapons. The addition of Calvin Ridley is huge. Gives him multiple receivers. I think defensively they'll be fine. And I think in this division, with the two teams with rookie quarterbacks, rookie coaches, with question marks over Tennessee, I think Jacksonville have more than enough to win this division and be competitive in the AFC. How competitive? We'll see in the playoffs, but I think Jacksonville win this division. Then we move on. Finally, in the AFC, we have the West. And for me, fourth place, it's Las Vegas. I have question marks over coach, Josh McDaniels. I'm not sure. I'm yet to be convinced by him as a coach at the NFL level. Jimmy Garoppolo, he wins when he's healthy. There's a high winning percentage, but will he stay healthy? That's been his struggle when he was in San Francisco, when he was in New England. For me, I don't think there's enough talent around him for if he does get injured, or even when he is healthy, for them to be that competitive. I like the talent. There's lots of talent there. There's a lot in the squad of potential, but for this year, I don't see it. I see them in fourth place in the division. Third place in the division, I have the Chargers. I think they've upgraded at offensive coordinator. I think they've got talent. I like Justin Herbert, but I'm yet to see him be that guy. Be the guy to carry the team. I don't know if he can do it. And I think with the coaching, quarterback, and talent of the other two teams in this division, I think that's too much to try to catch up. So I have the Chargers missing the playoffs. Second place in the division, I've got Denver. I think Sean Payton is going to turn this team around. I don't think Russ is going to be that top tier quarterback, but I think he's going to give them enough to push them forward and help them be better than last year. I think Sean Payton gives this team a huge upgrade at coaching, and I think that pays off and gets Denver into the playoffs. That, of course, leaves first place, Kansas City Chiefs. You can't argue them as the number one team in this division with coaching, with quarterback, and with talent and skill positions. Their young defense from last year is going to take that step forward as they mature. Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes, and I just see them being too much for this division and winning the AFC East. Let's move on. NFC time. Starting again in the East, I think it's going to be a struggle of a year for the Washington Commanders. I think they're fourth place in this division. I think there's a lot of talent in the rest of this division. Unlike most of the conference, in being perfectly honest, I think it's going to be a hard year for Washington, and I see them coming home in a comfortable fourth place in this division. Third place in the division, same as last year, I've got the Giants. I think they're going to be improved. I think coaching, it's up there and one of the better coaching staffs in the league. I'm not convinced by Daniel Jones to be the guy. I think they've overpaid him. I think it's going to affect them down the line. Is Saquon going to have the same big year he had last year? He's had health issues in the past. For me, it's third place, but I do have them in the weaker NFC. I do have them making the playoffs again. Once they're there, we'll see how they go. But for me, they're in the playoffs in third place in this division. So let's move on. Second place in the division, I have Philadelphia. I think there's a little hangover. I don't think Jalen Hurts is going to allow them to have a major Super Bowl hangover. But I think there will be a little pullback. They're not going to be the same team they were last year. I don't think they're going to be as dominant. I don't think they're going to eke out as many wins. But I still have them being, they've got a great coach, they've got great talent, they've got a quarterback who is competitive and will keep them in games. And I do think they will still win games and make the playoffs, but I don't have them winning the division because I think there is a little pullback from last year. Conversely, I think Dallas take a step forward from last year, and I have them winning the division. I think Dak is going to take a step forward. He has to with his quarterback, with his salary cap hit, but I think he will. I like the additions they've made to their talent. I don't like as much Mike McCarthy calling the plays and being offensive coordinator but I think offensively they can make enough plays. I like that they're going to give Tony Pollard more snaps, more carries because they have no Zeke. I like making him the feature back. I like that they brought in Brandon Cooks to be a compliment to CeeDee Lamb. I like that they've brought in Stephon Gilmore to be on the other side quarterback. And I think Micah is going to have a hell of a year. He's going to get attention. But I think he's going to be great. And I think Dallas's number one is first place in the NFC East. So 3 playoffs teams from the NFC East again with a poor Washington team for me. Moving on, NFC North, last place. There's a lot of hype. I don't believe the hype on Chicago. I think it might be a disappointing year for the Bears. I personally don't think Justin Fields is that guy. He can run the ball. I don't think he's going to carry this team as a quarterback. So for me, they're lacking in quarterback. I think they're lacking compared to the rest of the division in coach. I don't think they're going to be awful, but I have them in 4th place in this division. Ahead of them, I have Green Bay. I have some faith, some confidence in Jordan Love. I don't think he's going to be great, but I think coaching-wise, they can carry that. I think they can run the ball. They've got nice receiving targets for him to get some nice, easy completions. I think defensively, they'll be strong. Not elite, but strong. I don't have them making the playoffs, but I have them being about 8 and 9, 9 and 8, competitive, solid. And from then on, taking a step forward as they get Jordan Love more comfortable, more reps, more games. Looking ahead to next year for them. Second place in the division, I've got Detroit. I think they're going to be improved. I think they're going to make the playoffs. I think they're going to be great offensively. I still have slight question marks about them defensively. But I love Dan Campbell. I like Jared Goff as being able to manage a team. They know what they're looking for. They want to try and run the ball. They want to throw the ball. They're going to play tough, and they're going to be well coached. So for me, I don't think they've got the talent to push past Minnesota, but I think they'll come second in the division and make the playoffs. But I do think Minnesota wins this division again. I think defensively they have talent. I like Kirk Cousins. I think they'll have enough. I think they're going to take a step back from last year, but I still think they're going to be too much for the rest of this division, and I think they're going to come through, win their division again, obviously make the playoffs therefore. I like them. I think they're strong. I don't think they're as good as last year, but they're too much for this division again. NFC South. I think this may be the worst division in football this year. I don't have a lot of faith in many of the teams, to be perfectly honest. I think there's talent in areas, in places, but I don't overly see Carolina being too hot. I think Carolina are going to struggle, and I think they're going to be fourth place in this division. I don't see how. I think they're going to struggle early, and I think it'll affect them, and I think they'll have a hard season after a difficult start. Ahead of them, I have Atlanta. I think they're going to be okay. I think they're going to ride Bijan Robinson as much as they can, but it's going to be hard. I think everyone knows they're going to try to run the ball. They're going to see a lot of heavy boxes. I don't believe in them at quarterback. I think Arthur Smith can be okay for them, but it's going to be tough. And I have them third place in the division because I have Tampa Bay slightly ahead. I'm the biggest fan of Baker Mayfield, but I think he, as an experienced quarterback, has enough to keep them in third. I still don't think they're going to be good. I don't have them in the playoffs, but I think they'll be ahead of Atlanta, who will struggle early. Winning the division is New Orleans. I like Derek Carr. I think they've got talent in spaces defensively and offensively. They're not huge on talent. I don't think they're going to be great. But someone's got to win this division, and I think it's going to be New Orleans, and I think Derek Carr is the reason why. I think he's the best quarterback in the division without competition. I think it's close, and I think he has enough to carry them to a division win here. But I don't love them in the slightest. Moving on, final division, we have got the NFC West. I think this might be a difficult year for the Arizona Cardinals. Kyler Murray is still on PUP. We don't really know what they've got at all at quarterback. I think there's a lack of talent in this team. I think they're going to be one of the front runners for the number one pick. I think it's a poor team, and I don't see them. I don't see them winning many games at all. I don't see a lot of talent. I don't see great. I see new coach in. Who's their quarterback? I think they're going to struggle all year long, and I think they're going to be in the mix for the number one. I don't guarantee they're going to get the number one pick, but I think they're going to be in the mix for that one. Third place in division, it's the Rams. They have some talent. They have Stafford. They have Kupp. They have Donald. They've got Sean McVay coaching them. But who else have they got? Where is the rest of the team? I don't see enough talent on the rest of the team for them to be competitive, but I see too much talent in those three players and coach for them to be really bad. So maybe they're a candidate to move some people around at the trade deadline, try and get some more picks in. But for me, they're going to be poor and third place in the division. Better than Arizona, but not pushing Seattle or San Francisco. In second place in this division, I do have Seattle. I think Geno's not going to be awful, but I think he takes a step back from last year. I like some of the pieces they've got. They've got some young talent on defense. They've got some good receivers. But I think Geno is going to take a step back. And I don't think there's enough talent on this team to carry Gino, for Gino to be able to drive the bus and get them through. I think there's going to be a competitive team. I think they're going to surprise a few teams and get some wins where they're maybe not expected. But I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I think they're going to take a step back, miss the playoffs this year. Which leaves San Francisco to win the division. Huge question marks around Brock Purdy. We all know that. Other question marks, when's Nick Bosa going to show up? I think their defense is going to take a hit without having him. But there is so much talent on this team. Purdy can just hand the ball off to McCaffrey. He can hand it off to Debo. He can pass it to Debo. He's got Brandon Ayuk. He's got George Kittle. He's going to be protected well on the blind side through Trent Williams, who is older and may miss a game or two here, and that causes questions because I'm not entirely sure in their offensive line depth. But I think they have too much talent for the rest of this division, even if Brock Purdy isn't the quarterback who came from Mr. Irrelevant to crazy winning streak up until that NFC Championship game last year. And I think they have too much talent for the rest of the division. I think they will win the division. So there you go. That's my very brief run through all of the divisions. My playoff teams, as we just ran through. AFC, we've got Buffalo, New York, Baltimore, Cincinnati, Jacksonville, Kansas, and Denver. And then in the NFC, we have got Dallas, Philadelphia, New York Giants, Minnesota, Detroit, New Orleans, and San Francisco. Okay. Out of all of those, for me, Super Bowl winner is the Cincinnati Bengals. I think Joe Burrow comes back from his calf injury, whenever it'll take. I don't think they're going to be number one. I don't think they're going to win their division. But I think Joe Burrow is going to come through in the playoffs. And I think Cincinnati are going to win the Super Bowl this year. A few other little predictions for you. A few awards that I'm going to predict as well. I think MVP, a strong season for Dallas. 1 or 2 seed in the NFC. I think Dak Prescott is going to be the MVP this year. Offensive Player of the Year, as I said, San Francisco. Is Brock Purdy the guy? Well, we'll find out by him having the guy next to him. Christian McCaffrey, running the ball, receiving the ball. I think McCaffrey is going to have a huge year. And I think San Francisco is still going to be up there in the NFC. And I think a lot of it is going to be because of him. So I think Christian McCaffrey is my Offensive Player of the Year. Defensive Player of the Year, we're going NFC again. We're going Dallas again. Because again, I think they're going to be up around the number 1 or 2 seed. I think they're going to be a great team. And I think a large part of that is going to be their defense led by Micah Parsons. I think he's going to have a great year. He could well be the league leader in sacks. And he does so much more than just that. He's tackling in the run game. He's covering. He has interceptions. He breaks passes up. I think Micah Parsons is Defensive Player of the Year this year. Then, Offensive Rookie of the Year. I don't think the team's going to be great, but I think Bijan Robinson is going to be up there with the whole league leaders. Maybe not leading the league, but I think he'll be up there in league leaders in rushing yards. And as a result, carrying his team to a couple wins, Bijan Robinson wins Offensive Player of the Year for me. And Defensive Player of the Year, the Eagles are going to take a step back on a whole. But for me, Jalen Carter is going to have the splash plays and is going to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. Sorry about that one. Now, that is all for our predictions video. I will be back on Thursday afternoon with my full Week 1 breakdown of the slate of games for the Week 1 weekend. I will give you predictions for each game. I will give you things to look out for. But let's be excited. Let's get ready. Week 1 is here. I can't wait. That is my predictions for the year. I'll see you on Thursday. Thank you. Bye-bye.